Alright, you guys, so today we're going to talk about coordinate grids. Super important topic that is not going to go away. So the first thing I want to point out is the vocabulary, okay? So for a coordinate grid and plane, it's a two-dimensional surface formed by two perpendicular number lines and the axes that form at the origin. The origin is 0, 0. So the axes represent two perpendicular lines. And something that's perpendicular is when they intersect, they make 90 degrees. You can tell it's 90 degrees because that angle kind of represents a square or a box. So this is the y-axis. The y-axis is how you stand. It's vertical. And the x-axis is how you lay, and it is horizontal. So I think about it like x, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, you're laying down, so you're horizontal. So this one is first. And then later on when you stand up, so that's Y. So X comes before Y because you're laying down and then you wake up. So that's like just one way to help you remember it. An ordered pair is a pair of numbers used to locate a point in a coordinate plane like X and Y. So for example, like if you have 5, 8 up there, so you're going to go over 5, and then you're going to go up to 8. So you always start at the origin when you're plotting a point, and then you always do your X first, and then your Y. A big mistake is that people mix it up, so you want to make sure that you're plotting it on the right spot. Distance traveled, that's the measure of how far the point is from the origin. Okay, so this is like 5 units from the origin, and 8 units up here. Okay, well, 5 units from the y-axis and then 8 units up from the x-axis, because here still is like 5 away. Okay. So plotting is the process of locating, marking a point on the plane based off of its coordinates. So to identify a point on a coordinate grid, go down to the x-axis, okay, and write the x-coordinate, and then go over to the y. All right. So for this one, it says to identify a point, you can go down here and then go over. Okay, so this is 3, 9. Okay. This next one, you can see here for the x it's 5, and then for the coordinate it's 4. So that's 5, 4. And then the next one is C. So you can look over here, right? So for the X, like it's literally like this right here. So that's 9, right? Sorry, y'all. So that's 9. Okay. And then for the Y, it doesn't change. So that is 0. Okay. So at this point, it's going to be 9, comma, 0. You always put a comma around these. All right. Another way to plot these points is to like just start from the origin. So if you start from the origin, right, you would follow the x-axis, right, and then you would go, so the x is 5 for B, right, and then you go up, so the y is 4, so that's why it's 5, 4. But like for C, you start at the origin, you go right, so you end up at 9, and then you don't have to go up or anything, so you end up at 0. So looking here, so the first point here is going to be A, right? So you go down, that's 1, and if you go over, that's 6. So this is going to be 1 and 6. The next one for B, right here, if you go down to X, that's going to be 11, and if you go over, that's going to be 7. So this is going to be 11, 7. For C, looking right here, down there, so you can see that if you go down, that's 4, and if you go over, that's 3. So this is going to be 4 and 3. Okay. D down there, so you can see D is at 9. All right. And Also, it's at 1 for y, so this is going to be 9, 1. Alright, so let's go to E. So E is here, so I can go down to 7. And then you can go over to 7. So this one is 7, 7. Okay. Alright, looking at F. Alright. If you go down here, that's going to be 0 for X, right? And then for the Y is going to be 2. Okay, so that's 0 and 2. For G, it's all the way up here. So if you go down, that's 6, and if you go over, that's 11. So that's going to be 6 and 11. For H, you're going to stay on that x-axis right here. So the x is 5, right? But that y is 0, okay? So if it's on the x-axis, it's going to have an x coordinate, right? And like the other one, like F, was on the y-axis, so it has a y coordinate, but then the other part is 0. Okay, so you can see here, like this one was on the x-axis, so this is 5, but it's 0. It's 5 for x, nothing. And this one's on the y-axis, so where the y point is, it has a number, but where the x is, it doesn't. For I right here, so you're going to go down here, so that's 8, and then go over, so that's 4. So that's 8, 4, and then the last one is J. I'm not going to write this one down, but so if you start, right, so for I, if you go down, that's 8, and then over 4, so that's 8, 4, and the last one, J, if you start here, you go down 3, that's the X, and then over 4, so that last one is 3, 4. Alright, so to graph a point on a coordinate grid, start at the origin and move to the right until you reach the x coordinate on the x-axis, and then you move up until you reach the y coordinate. Alright, so starting here, you go and start at the origin, right, and it says go to the right, and then you go over to 3, and you go up, and 5, and then you make a dot. Okay, so for B, you want to start here, go over to 5, and then go up to 9 and plot your point. Okay, you can always check at the end, like that this goes down to 5, this goes over to 9. For C, you're going to go over, right? But it says 7 and then it says 0, so you just want to put the point here, right? So let's go ahead and plot the following points. Please make sure you keep in mind that pause this and do it on your own, and then kind of like we check it together, okay? So I'm going to start at the origin, go right 8, and go up to 3, okay? So that's A. You want to go over to 4, and then up 10, okay? For C, you're going to stay here at 0, because it says 0 for X, and then you're going to go up to 7. That's C, okay? So remember, this is an X and a Y, so if the X is 0, then this is going to be on the Y axis because there's a Y coordinate. So like this one, when I get here, I know this is going to be on the X axis because the Y is 0, alright? So looking at D, it's 2, 2, so I'm going to start at the origin, go over 2, and then go up 2, and up to 4. For F, I'm going to go over to 10 and start and go up to 4. Let me get a different color right next to that one. So for G, that's over 3, but I don't go up, okay? And H, you're going to go over 6 and up 7. And for I, at the origin, go over 2 and up 8. So this is I. I'm sorry, and this is H. And this was G. And then the last one, you're going to start here, go over to 5, and go all the way up to J. Okay? All right. So, next, decimals can be plotted on a coordinate grid by placing points in between whole numbers. So fancy, okay? So this says plot each point on the line using the order pair. I'll do that last. And so here, starting with A, is asking me to find those points. So I'm going to draw, and so that's 4.5 for X because it's in the middle. And then if I draw my line over here, it's between 3 and 4, so that's 3.5. And at B, if I go down, that's going to be 0 for the X. And for the Y coordinate, which is on the Y axis, it's going to be between 1 and 2, so that's 1.5. For C, I'm going to, I don't see y'all. Do y'all see it? C, okay. So then for C, I'm going to start here. I go over, so that's between 3 and 4, right? And then this right here is right on 5, so this is going to be 3.5, and then 5. D is here, so I start here, I go over 3, and I go up 1. That's a little different from the other ones. See, this one has whole numbers. The rest of them are kind of in between. You see how this one's kind of right there on that little, where these four, where this cross intersects. So yeah, okay, so for E, you're going to go, the X is 2, and the Y is 2.5. Because it's in between 2 and 3, F is here, it's in between 3 and 4, so the X coordinate is 3.5. That Y coordinate is right on 4. For G, right here, so you're gonna, that X is between 1.5, and the Y is right on the 1. H, it's right here in the middle, so I go, if I'm looking at that X, it's 1.5, and I want to point out that it's 1.5 just like the G, okay? And then this one is 4.5 because again, it's in the middle. For I, it's right here. So for the X, it's 4. And for the Y coordinate, it's between 0 and 1. So that means this is 0.5. And J is here. So that is right on the 1 and then 3.5. I also want to point out that A, the Y coordinate for A also has to be 3.5 because they're right on the same line. So this is going to be 1 and 3.5. Okay? It says plot each point on the line using the order pair to label the point. I'll do my best. So for K, it's going to be, you start here, you go over to 2.5, that's between 2 and 3, and you go up to 5. Okay, so that's K. The next one, you're going to start at, you can start at the origin, right? You go over 3, and then you go up 2 and 3, which is L. For M, you're going to stay at the origin because it says 0, right? But for the Y coordinate, it's 2, so you're going to go up 2 units. So you're going to be right here, and that's M. And last is N. So you're going to start at 0, go over to 4.5, so that is between 4 and 5, so that's right here. And you're going to go up between 2 and 3, which is right here, so that's N. Notice that how the N, the L, and the E are kind of all on this same line, right? So if I look at the Y coordinate for N, L, and E, you can see they're all 2.5. So we're going to locate and name each order pair. So looking at A, I can see that if I look at the X coordinate, so remember I'm going to look down here, so that's 6, and then and 6 and 8. Okay, if I look at the Y for B, I'm right here on the X, so that's going to be 4 and then 0. For C, I'm up here, so the X is going to be 1 and the Y is 10. For D, if I look here, the X is 8 and the Y is 3, so this is 8, 3. E here is 7 and then 2. For F, it's here, so it's 9 and 9, so 9, 9. For G, it's right here, so the X is 0, but that Y coordinate is 1. For H, I'm here, so I go down here, that's going to be 11, and over that's 5. For I, the X is 5 and the Y is 2. And then for J, the X is 2 and the Y is 5, so this is 2, 5. Well, those are kind of opposites, 5, 2, and 2, 5. So you can like check some of these. So like for, let's say like 1, 10, right? We said that we would start at the origin, go over 1 and up 10. So that's like C, or 5, 2. Then you're going to start at the origin, go over 5 and up 2, and that's I right there. Okay, so just make sure you're checking them. This says locate and name each point. So this first one is 5, 6. So I start here. I go over 5 and then I go up 6. So that's B. So see here that this is 5, 0, right? Because it's 5 for the X and 0 for the Y. So that's going to be I. Okay. The next one, 9, 8. So I go here, I go over 9, I go up 8. So that's E. Okay. Another way you can work is kind of backwards. So you can start here. So this is the X is 1 and the Y is 3. So looking for 1, 3, and that's F. For this one, the X is 0, the Y is 5, so that's 0, 5, so that's C. Let's see. We haven't done J, so J is 4 and then 3, okay, so that's J. We haven't done D, so D is 6 and then 5, okay, so 6, 5, that's D. 8, 3, so I'm going to go over 8, go up 3, that's H. For 9, I'm going to go over 2 and up 9, so that's A. And then over 5, up 10 is G. Okay? And so, again, you could be drawing those lines like, okay, this is 9 and this is 8, so E is 9, 8. You can also start from the origin, like, okay, I'm going over 9, I go up, and you still get the same thing. The most important thing is that you guys are doing the X coordinate first and the Y. So it's a huge mistake that people make is that they mix these up, okay? And also, I know this is easy now, but you need to be practicing, right? Because eventually, you'll have all 4 quadrants, okay? So right now, you're only dealing with the positive quadrant. But as you move up in math, you'll be dealing with 4 quadrants. So make sure you master how to do this now. And you're always going up now because these are positive, but you won't always go up. Sometimes you'll go down because they'll be negative, or sometimes you'll go left because they are negative. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So it's important that you practice this so that even though it's easy, right? That because when it builds, it'll be this. Okay. So this says to locate and name each ordered pair. So starting with E, okay, so this is at 2 and 0. It's K, so this is also at 2, right? It's at 2, but it's at 4, so K is 2, 4. Or maybe I could do it. Okay. We'll come back to that one. Alright, so let's start here with J. So J is right here, so this is 0 for X, right? And 10, so this is 0, 10. The next line is 1, right? So I is here, so this is 1 and 8. Some people have 8. This one is, we talked about this, 2, 0. K is 2, 4. And C also, the X is going to be 2, but their Y is going to be 11. Okay, so that's 2, 11. So notice that because they're all on the same line, right? Like they would all have 2 as their X coordinate. So for L, this is going to be 3 and 6. Okay, so that's L. Yeah, I guess this is supposed to be, well, no, that's H. Anyways, let me stop playing. So let's see where we at here. So that's H, which is 4, 2. Okay, so H is 4, 2. There's nothing else on this line with H, so I'm going over to the 5 for the x-axis. So when I did this, you guys, I was trying to figure out where does K go. The K is 2 and 4. Okay, so I'm trying to figure that out. So anyways, where was I at? So looking at D, so that's going to be 5 and 6. So D is 5, 6. For F is 6 and then 3. Okay, 6 and 3. Who else is on that line? G is on this line too. So for X coordinates, it's going to be 6, but then 8. X1. A is here, so that's 9, 3. Notice that it's on the same kind of like Y line with F. So for F, you should also see that 3 in that Y place. And then over here we got 10, 10, 10 for B. And notice that it's on the same line as J. So for J, that Y coordinate is the same, right? They're both 10. And then because if you look here, they're both on the, they both connect to the y-axis, okay? And then for H, okay, H is 4, 2. So I think, yeah, maybe, anyways, the 2, 4 is the K. So it says locate and name, so 11, 2. So I'm going to go to here, right? I go over to 10, and this is 11. Because it's the number right after it, and I go up to 2, so I know this is M. This is a mistake, so I know that H is at 4, 2, and K is at 2, 4. 0, 10, I'm going to start at 0, go all the way up to 10. Alright, so that's J. You can't see it. I was confused because this is I, this is L. So I was like, what is that? So that's J, okay? Alright, so it says plot each point on the line plot using the ordered pair, okay? So let me get a different color. The first one we're going to plot is 8, 1. You want to start at the origin. Okay, you always start here. Go over 8 and you go up 1. Okay, why do you always start here? Because eventually you're going to have 4 quadrants. So you want to get in the habit of always starting at the origin, okay? For O, is you start here, you go over 7, and then all the way up to 10. So that's O, and this is M. For P, you want to start here, you want to go over to 10 and go up to 6. P, notice that it's on the same line as the D and the L. C, the D, and then the L, they all have the 6 and the Y coordinate. Then for Q, you go over to 9 and go up to 4. So this is going to be your Q. Answer the following. Which point shares the same axis as point G? So first, let's find point G, okay? So the same x-axis. So if I go down here, that's going to be F, right? And then when I look at G, which is 6 and F, they have the same one. and which one shares the same y-axis as Q. So this is the y, right? So this is K, and if I look at Q, this is 4, and if I look at K, remember we talked about K up here, that's 4 up here, it's 2, 4, okay? Suppose a x-coordinate of F was moved, so where's F? F is here, okay, so you got 6, 3. So let's say the x-coordinate was moved over 1, so this way. So then that would make it 7, 3. Right? So this is the x-coordinate. And we moved it to the right. Okay, so that means it's going to get bigger. So if I add 1 here, this is going to be 7, and this is still going to be 3. Alright? So the most important thing to do, so like if you're trying to find the coordinate, you can draw a line down to see what the x is or the y. If you're plotting a coordinate, you can, even if you're trying to find this, you can always start at the origin, see how far you go over and how far you go up. Remember, x goes before y, and that's going to carry you all the way to college. So that's something you don't want to forget. And you always need to practice this starting at the origin, because this is going to end up being 4 quadrants. And so that's why you need to practice like always starting from the origin, because you're not always going to go right. Sometimes you're going to go left when it becomes negative, and you're not always going to go up. Sometimes it's going to be negative and you're going to have to go down. So make sure you're practicing it while it's in one quadrant like this. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.